Hello and welcome to Cretaceous Cantina, where today we're having a look at the Mattel Jurassic World Dino Rivals Megalodon Attack Quetzalcoatlus. I've been sitting on this about a month at this point, and I'm finally getting around to reviewing it, and I'm super excited because I've been wanting to get it out of the package in that amount of time, and just been busy with other reviews and other stuff. So, but yeah, here it is. It looks really cool. From what we saw in early photos, I think a lot of us expected this was going to be a really cool flying reptile. And yeah, here it is. So let's go and talk about the packaging. It's more of the same Jurassic World Dino Rivals aesthetic we've seen before. Now, I do want to mention that they changed the type of cardboard they were using on these Megalodon attacks. So it's not like what you have with your Stegosaurus or your Suchomimus. It's a little bit lighter in weight. It's probably a little bit flimsy in comparison, but it seems to hold up okay. It's also not as glossy. It has like a slightly more matte finish. And interestingly, the Quetzalcoatlus is held in by these different kinds of bands. Usually we just have like the elastic band, so these are a little bit different. These are more like zip ties. At the back, we can see that it says you get Super Wing Strike, you get Super Chomp, and there are the other Megalodon attacks in the lower left. You get your collector card, you get your Jurassic Facts app. Tons of literature at the bottom for anyone who wants to take the time to read that. There is your UPC. All right, I'm gonna take some time, get this Quetzalcoatlus out of the packaging. When we come back, we'll take a closer look. All right, now here's our Quetzalcoatlus out of the packaging, and I've always kind of had a soft spot for this creature. Back in the mid-90s, there was this computer game on my old Packard Bell called Dinosaur Adventure 3D by a company called Knowledge Adventure. And they had a video clip on there with a very low frame rate that showed a couple of guys with a radio-controlled Quetzalcoatlus. And ever since then, I've just been a little bit taken with this creature. It was also discovered in Big Bend National Park in Texas. I'm originally from Texas, so there's also that connection. It's supposed to be the largest pterosaur that ever existed, so it's super cool that Mattel took a page out of Kenner's book and thought it was important enough to put it in their Jurassic World toy line. And it's definitely pretty sizable. I'm not quite sure that it needed to be a Megalodon attack over a Dual attack, but we'll get into all that. Let's take a close-up look at the Quetzalcoatlus. Alright, so taking a look at this head sculpt, you can see that it's got quite a beak on it. It's got a very long neck and a very small body by comparison, but then, a rather large wingspan on it. The head itself actually looks really cool. I think it's sculpted pretty nicely, but I think it's the colors that really set it off. I mean, you have this huge beak right here, like this really big orange beak, just a regular like duck colored beak, so that's pretty interesting. It's got a crest on its head with some shiny purple and then some duller orange plastic, kind of the same color you have on the nose. They even sculpted like these little nostrils right there. I think that's a really nice touch. The eye looks pretty nice. It kind of looks like it's looking forward a little bit. And the top of the head, you can see there is some texturing going on right there. So that is pretty nice. And that does carry into the neck. You have this really nice shiny teal that surrounds the eye and carries into the neck. A little bit of a darker orange, maybe the same orange you have up here. And that kind of goes into this more like banana beige sort of color. And the coloring up here is slightly darker than what you have on the neck. But yeah, those eyes are definitely looking forward a little bit. Like you can see the eye is basically orange. Again, lots of orange here. And then it has like a little teal pupil that is painted on, and you can kind of just see it's looking forward. So it's probably anticipating its next meal, or it's looking where it's going, which is rather important if you're flying around and you're this big. Looking inside the mouth, there is a little bit of texturing going on at the roof of the mouth. It's not painted, but the tongue is painted, and there's a little bit of sculpted detail on there. Same with the membrane folds that are right there between the beak. So overall, it's pretty nice. The body itself, again, like I said, it's nicely sculpted. You do see a good little bit of texturing going on there, and it is this soft, like pale banana sort of color. And it does have some of that fleck that you see on a lot of the Mattel Jurassic dinosaurs, probably most of them. And that does kind of carry through like in the legs here and on the arms. So you can certainly see that. Speaking of the arms, they basically extend to here. They did not paint the little claws, and then that goes all the way to the end of the wing. For the legs, those are
also nicely done. You can see there's a little bit of a membrane right there, like behind the legs. So it's a really nice touch, actually. The feet look pretty good. Once again, they didn't paint those toe claws. And then let's talk about these wings. These wings look magnificent. Basically, they're very nicely textured. This feels really nice. And they painted it really nicely as well. Again, these really shiny sorts of colors. So, you have this purple that's carrying through with all these little lines. And then you also have more of this like royal blue color that's carrying through to the edges of the wings. So that is really nice. I like seeing that. And these little membranes are also that same purple color there. Now, if we flip it over, the bottom is pretty plain, and this is basically on par with anything we've seen from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line. So it's kind of a bummer they didn't paint it, but it is in keeping with everything they've done. That's not to say they couldn't make improvements. They could have painted this. I think it would have been so much cooler, especially at the higher price point you're paying for this guy, but it is what it is. There you have the tail kind of sticking out right there, and bottom part of the head and neck right there. So very plain. By the way, if you are doing the Jurassic Facts app, there's that. So in terms of articulation, we do have an action feature. We'll talk about that in a minute, but let's talk about what you can actually use here with articulation. So you do have this right there, and these wings basically collapse down. This is actually how it's packaged. So when you buy it, the wings are in this position so that it can actually fit inside the box, but then you can extend them just like I had it like that. You can actually keep going if you wanted. It doesn't look right if you do that, so we're just gonna keep it like that. And here on this side, I'll go ahead and fold that back out. So you can pose those. The wings are built into the action feature, as is the neck and the beak. So we'll talk about that. But you do get some movement here with the legs. Now these actually do go up and they kick back. They're just on just basic hinges, so they just kind of swivel forward and back. Not a whole lot going on with them. They don't move outward or anything. It would be nice if they did. So basically it's just in this permanent like flying type pose. So on the back, you do have these two buttons right there. There's one in the front, one in the back. So to activate the action feature, we'll press the first one, and you have the biting action, which is pretty cool. It looks neat when you do it. And then you have the back button, which activates the wing flapping feature. So that is also cool. Of course, we want our pterosaurs to have wing flapping action. That's pretty important. So overall, I think they did a pretty nice job with the Quetzalcoatlus. For me, the biggest thing here, though, is the colors. I think it's just very striking. Little size comparison. Let's go ahead and bring in Dr. Alan Grant and see how he scales next to the Quetzalcoatlus. You can see that the Quetzalcoatlus is pretty big, especially with that beak. I wouldn't want to be in the way of a Quetzalcoatlus. It could probably grab you pretty easily, and then you would be done for, and that wouldn't be good. Or who knows, maybe Dr. Grant is some kind of a pterosaur whisperer, and he has a special relationship with the Quetzalcoatlus and can just ride it around town. Or maybe not. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the card that comes with the Quetzalcoatlus. You can see that has some very nice artwork. The beak actually looks a little more curved than it does on the finished product. See how the beak kind of curves like that? But the colors are fairly similar. It still looks pretty cool. And the stats right here indicate that this is a pretty ferocious beast. I mean, if you look at its strength, it's a 9. It's pretty darn strong. Its speed is an 8. It's pretty quick. Its brains are kind of in the middle. And its ferocity is at a 7. So be careful. This is number 29. And there's the back. So pretty cool stuff. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So there you have it. This is the Mattel Jurassic World Dino Rivals Megadull Attack Quetzalcoatlus. Overall, you guys, I like this quite a bit. I think it's really fun. I think these are some of the most unique colors Mattel has done in the Jurassic World toy line. It's really nice to have another species of flying reptile in the line, and Quetzalcoatlus, of course, being such a huge pterosaur, makes for an awesome addition to our collections. I think it's very nicely sculpted. I think that, once again, it's painted very nicely. Not a whole lot of functional articulation, but the action features are pretty fun. I will be honest in that I don't feel like this is a Megadull Attack $20 price point creature. It just feels like the Stegosaurus certainly feels that. The Suchomimus, I would say so as well, but This is really lightweight, and it feels more like it'd be at home in just the regular dual attack assortment at the $15 price point. Maybe it was a little too large for that box, and that's ultimately why they put it in the dual attack assortment. But honestly, I feel like for $20, it should be a little bit more dynamic, maybe a little bit more posable, maybe some paint underneath the wings. It just feels a little bit expensive to me. But other than that, I do like it. I am glad that we have this in the line, and I think it's a fun one. I got mine on Amazon.com. They go in and out of stock, so just keep an eye if you want to track it down. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments. Will you be picking this up? As always, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to Cretaceous Cantina. Until next time, bye-bye.